Twice in its history, one company walked up to its biggest rival and asked to be bought out. Twice, the rival said no. That company was Pepsi, and today, it's still standing, still going head-to-head with the very company that rejected it. Twice, a rivalry that has now lasted over 130 years, one that has never truly ended. This is the story of two pharmacists, two secret formulas, and the most ruthless brand war in the history of consumer goods. In 1886, in Atlanta, Georgia, a pharmacist named John Pemberton mixed up carbonated syrup, originally sold as a tonic. He called it Coca-Cola. Just a few years later, not far away in North Carolina, another pharmacist named Caleb Bradham developed a soft drink formula of his own. He first called it Brad's Drink. By 1898, he renamed it Pepsi-Cola. Two formulas, two pharmacists, both with the same idea: sell carbonated refreshment to the American public. From that very moment, the two companies were natural rivals, not because they chose to compete, but because their products were nearly indistinguishable to the average consumer. For the first 4 decades, though, this was never an even fight. It was the story of a giant and a smaller company that kept collapsing beneath it. Coca-Cola grew steadily, building the image of a warm, nostalgic brand woven into American childhood memories. Its Santa Claus advertising campaign became one of the most successful in advertising history. Pepsi wasn't so lucky. Market instability after World War I pushed Pepsi to the brink. The company filed for bankruptcy in 1923. It clawed its way back, only to go bankrupt again in 1931. That's the moment Pepsi approached Coca-Cola with an offer. Buy us out. Coca-Cola said no, not once, twice. After each of Pepsi's collapses, rejected, Pepsi had no choice but to save itself. In 1934, it made a bold move, selling a 12-ounce bottle for just 5 cents, twice the size of Coca-Cola's 6-ounce bottle, at the same price. It was the opening shot of 2 decades of brutal price competition. By the early 1960s, Pepsi realized something. Price alone would never be enough to beat Coca-Cola, so it changed the entire game. Instead of competing on the product, it started competing on identity. In 1963, Pepsi launched the Pepsi Generation campaign. Images of young people surfing, dancing, racing cars. Not selling a drink, selling a feeling. Youthful rebellion. It worked. Sales among young adults climbed sharply within the first year. Coca-Cola, still positioning itself as the wholesome, all-American classic, suddenly looked a generation behind. In 1971, Coca-Cola fired back. One of the most expensive commercials ever made at the time, Hilltop. Dozens of young people from around the world standing on an Italian hillside, singing "I'd like to buy the world a Coke." It wasn't aimed at any single age group. It was aimed at the heart, the message, universal harmony, not rebellion, to philosophies, to entirely different baits on what would make people reach for a can. But the blow that truly forced Coca-Cola to take Pepsi seriously, that wouldn't land until 1975. Through a marketing campaign so simple, almost no one saw the danger coming. That year, Pepsi launched the Pepsi Challenge, inviting passers-by to take a blind taste test between the two colas. No idea which was which. The result? Over and over, most people picked Pepsi. This wasn't just a clever ad gimmick. It struck directly at the belief Coca-Cola had spent nearly a century building. That Coca-Cola simply tasted better. Coca-Cola's market share began to erode. Under mounting pressure, Coca-Cola's CEO at the time, Roberto Goizueta, made a decision. One with no precedent in the company's nearly 100-year history. In April 1985, he announced it. Coca-Cola would change its formula, for the first time ever. The new recipe, calibrated through 190,000 taste tests, was called New Coke. The public's reaction, a shockwave no one had predicted. Consumers poured New Coke down the drain. In protest, they stockpiled cases of the original formula. Protest groups like Old Cola Drinkers of America sprang up, with a single demand: bring back the original recipe. After 79 chaotic days, Coca-Cola surrendered. On July 11, 1985, the company officially brought back the classic formula. While Coca-Cola was reeling, Pepsi made a move that would reshape advertising itself. A $5 million deal with Michael Jackson, the largest celebrity endorsement contract of its time. But the 1984 commercial shoot turned into a disaster. Pyrotechnics accidentally set Jackson's hair on fire, leaving him with second-degree burns to his scalp. Pepsi settled the matter out of court. Jackson donated the settlement to a burn treatment center. Here's the twist. The new Coke disaster. What looked like the biggest blunder in Coca-Cola's history quietly turned into one of the greatest comebacks in consumer goods history. The backlash made Americans crave the original formula more than ever. Coca-Cola didn't just recover its position. Sales actually surged after the classic formula returned, turning a billion-dollar mistake into one of the most remarkable turnarounds corporate history has ever seen. Through the 1990s, the war never cooled off, it just changed shape. Both companies poured hundreds of millions of dollars into new products, new packaging, increasingly elaborate marketing campaigns, aimed at claiming cultural relevance, not just shelf space. Pepsi's biggest play of the decade. Pepsi Stuff, a loyalty program letting customers redeem points from bottle caps for merchandise, t-shirts, jackets, and famously and that jokingly offered a Harrier fighter jet for 7 million points. A stunt that later triggered an actual lawsuit when a college student tried to claim it. Literally, meanwhile, Coca-Cola leaned even harder into nostalgia and global reach, expanding aggressively into international markets where Pepsi had barely established a foothold. Neither company's product had changed all that much. What kept changing was the story each one told, about who was drinking it, and why. The rivalry didn't stay confined to advertising forever. In 2006, it crossed a much darker line. A secretary working for Coca-Cola's global brand director conspired with two accomplices to steal the company's confidential trade secrets, including, allegedly, samples tied to an unreleased product, and sell them to Pepsi for $1.5 million, but Pepsi didn't take the deal. Instead, the company reported the offer directly to Coca-Cola and to the FBI. Federal agents ran a sting operation, posing as Pepsi executives to catch the scheme in action. The conspirators were arrested. In one of the strangest twists in this entire rivalry, Pepsi ended up protecting the very secret it had spent over a century trying to crack. After that scandal, Coca-Cola held onto its sales lead for decades. But in 2010, an unexpected milestone arrived. Diet Coke's sales overtook Pepsi's for the first time. The Wall Street Journal ran a headline declaring it, Diet Coke, the winner of the Cola Wars. In terms of overall market value, the gap between the two companies has narrowed dramatically. Counting the full corporate portfolio, including snack brands like Frito-Lay, PepsiCo has, at various points, even surpassed Coca-Cola in market capitalization, something that would have seemed unthinkable back in the 1980s, when Pepsi was still seen as the scrappy underdog. But today's war doesn't look like the war of the 1980s. The biggest enemy for both companies isn't each other anymore. It's a global shift in consumer awareness. Sugary soda is losing ground to health-conscious habits. Both giants are now pouring billions into sugar-free lines, bottled water, sports drinks, coffee, tea, plant-based beverages. The battlefield itself has shifted from taste test tables in shopping malls, to social media, targeted advertising, and viral campaigns measured in engagement, not just eyeballs. The story of Coca-Cola and Pepsi leaves behind an important lesson for anyone building a business or a brand. Market wars are rarely decided by who has the better product. They're decided by who controls the story, who reaches the customer's identity and emotions first. The Pepsi challenge showed something. Even with science on your side, you can still lose. If your rival owns a deeper, older kind of trust, New Coke showed the opposite. Sometimes your biggest mistake accidentally reveals exactly what your customers value most, turning a crisis into an even stronger bond of loyalty. And the 2006 espionage attempt shows something else entirely. After 130 years of trying to destroy each other, even Coca-Cola and Pepsi understand this. Some lines shouldn't be crossed, because a market with only one winner is a market neither company actually wants. If you'd been in Coca-Cola's boardroom in 1985, would you have dared to gamble with the formula that built the company for almost a century? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.